Are you too busy to have that difficult conversation at work? I know you're pretty busy, but guess what? That busyness is really you procrastinating, trying to avoid a difficult conversation. What I call courageous conversation, because it really takes a lot of courage to sit down and have that conversation with your team member or your employee. So I want to share with you some tips that can help you develop your courageous conversation muscle. So the first thing I'll say is have that conversation in private, please. So many times we have the conversation as we're passing by on the way and not really stopping to bring the person in the office in privacy and to have the conversation. So no more corridor conversations, no more desk conversations. It's time to have a private conversation. The other tip I'll share is to plan your conversation. As simple as it is, get a notebook or a sheet of paper and write out exactly what you want to say, because that will give you some confidence. And it's really about building your confidence in having these conversations. So write down the sequence of what you're going to say. Doesn't mean you have to stick to it word for word, but it gives you some confidence in the sequence of your message. So after you have, decided when you'll have that meeting, when you'll have that conversation, after you have written out what you're going to say and you're actually having that conversation, I want you to be direct. As direct as you can be. Many times we beat around the bush because we are afraid to offend the person. We don't want the person to feel badly. But the best way to have a courageous conversation and to help that person improve and get better is really to be direct. And that brings me to the other point of being specific. We generalize too much. It's only when you're specific is your feedback meaningful. So be specific when you're talking to the person. And, we have to watch our tone as we're speaking. Pay attention to your tone. And if you find that you're a bit annoyed and angry and riled up, that may not be the best time to have that conversation. My advice is to take a time out, take some breathing exercises, calm down a bit, and then have the conversation. You don't want your emotions to get the better of you and to take control of the conversation. You want to be in control of your emotions. And as you're having that conversation, exercise a bit of empathy. Hear what the person has to say. Probably you didn't hear their side of the story. Probably there's something that you don't know about and you only had part of the story. In the end, as we have more courageous conversation, it's like a muscle. You get better every time and it gets easier every time you have that conversation. And I truly believe that everybody wants to improve. So that's the surprise thing. When we think that we don't need to have those conversations, we should have those courageous conversations because your employee, your team member wants to improve and want to get better. And this is how you can help them. So have that courageous conversation and let me know how it went.